That's Auntie Roni.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go check it out.
I gotta get content.
Okay, yeah, we get some.
We'll be cross advertised.
I about to say, well, yeah, we'll
Cross market.
yeah, we can share it.
Okay.
All right.
All you gotta do is listen to me, kick back while I sit up on this microphone and I spit back. Round posted with a brand new A-Town hat, about to bring that old A-Town back.
Hey, what's going on, world, man? We here on another segment of What You Think, and I'm chilling here with Auntie Roni today. Hey, man, look, we got a good subject matter today, and it's about relationships and titles and the importance of, what people think when they're going into relationships and the future and the beyond of that relationship. So, remember, on this segment, I always give my opinion, never advice, and I do not male bash.
No female bashing.
Hey, exactly. And we finna crank it up. So, first thing first, Auntie.
Yes.
I do appreciate you for coming through.
I thank you for having me.
Hey, man, always. You was one of the ones who responded very, very quick and briefly.
I love to have a good conversation.
Hey, man, always.
It's always about the conversation.
And I think in our generation, especially today, it's cool that we got so many of these podcasts where you can listen to different opinions and conversations.
Absolutely.
Because I think I was just talking to somebody about growing up. In my household, my folks show love, but I was never taught to love.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
When you're a certain number of years old, some of those experiences are similar.
Yeah.
Because we're dealing with a similar generation of parent. So I get that. I mean, I was lucky. I got shown how to show love. And I know that wasn't the norm.
Oh, yeah.
I know that wasn't the norm.
You grew up in a big family?
No.
For real?
No. Yes and no, but no.
Man, your persona, it would make you think you had like a big family, like how,
I do.
How you glow when you come around.
Well, thank you. I do, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
My mother married into a large family.
Oh, okay.
When I was 9.
Okay.
But outside of that, on my mother's side, no cousins, none of that. So until 9, no.
Man, so you ain't never experienced like going up grandma's house and all the cousins, everybody mama dropped their cousins off over at grandma's house and we sleep over.
So once I had that kind of family experience, my grandma lived in Hawkinsville.
Mm-hmm.
So were there times where I was in the country at my grandma's house with my cousins? Absolutely. But was it a part of my full raising story?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Oh, for real?
Mm-mm. Just me.
Man. So, what type of examples of love and relationship did you get when you was growing up? Because you said your mama married I guess it would be your stepfather.
Correct.
And was that a good example of you and how you was taught love?
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm my mother's child. And I'm proud of that, but it makes me sad sometimes because we're both giving to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
We both see the best in everybody.
Right.
Unfortunately, that tends to make both of us targets to the people that want to take advantage in the world. So I haven't replicated every mistake I've seen my mother make, but I have seen circumstances where people are very good at pretending to care for the benefit of a giving person.
Right.
I watched her do it. I've repeated some of those things. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean all of the relationships were the most ideal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there were people that I think definitely genuinely cared and loved.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that they started out for the right reason.
Oh, so you think some of them might have came in there with different intentions?
Without going into too much detail, my father went to therapy once, and the therapist said, some of the actions you display is because you're now comfortable enough to let the bad behavior out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to fend for yourself. You've got this home base, this comfortable situation now.
Yeah.
So you can let your demons dance.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Sometimes you don't always want to be the safe space to allow people to let their demons go free.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah,
I love it, but you got to be careful of people.
Right, because you can be somebody's sanctuary of disaster.
Absolutely. Isn't that terrible?
Yeah, it's crazy.
But wonderful at the same time.
Hey, I mean.
So bizarre. So bizarre.
Hey, so the subject matter today is today's relationships and the expectations of titles and waiting on a title. I think when I look back, and I can only say when I look back on my oldest, because my oldest family member was my grandmama. But then I go watch movies too.
Of course.
And when you be watching these movies and documentaries, and you get to talking to your grands and your greats, you notice like back then they were married fairly young.
Correct.
And had different obligations of living. And fast forward as you skip to today, and some of the things of importance that were back then in their generation have kind of, I don't want to say dwindled.
Okay.
But I mean, they kind of feel like they're expiring a little bit.
Are they expiring or are they changing?
I think that's a good aspect of a word to use. Change.
I think we all can look around and notice a difference in everything about day-to-day life.
Yeah.
But for some odd reason, we expect the way a relationship dynamic works to not have changed at all. So if all the external factors are different,
right,
significantly different, why would you expect this to not change also?
Like the evolution of technology.
So there's an evolution in relationships, absolutely.
Of everything else, as far as even how we date and meet each other.
Even if you want a full-on traditional relationship, it's not going to look like it did 60 years ago.
True.
It can't. And I'm not saying there aren't circumstances where it may mirror, but it's not going to be. Everything is different.
I'm totally with evolution.
Yes.
But do the traditions, can the traditions and the values, like I love looking back at what they had, and like at least can we at least keep the values the same though, and the way they love one another.
See, this is where we fall into my space of subjectivity.
Yeah.
Who said the values aren't there? Just because you're expecting it to be wrapped in this type of packaging.
Or
you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean they've dissipated. They just may present differently.
Or it could be the economic demographic of what I'm just around.
And that makes, absolutely.
Because, bro, you just looking at relationships over here in College Park. It's
those,
a whole world.
Those socioeconomic things, like they definitely play a part. I mean, it's a lot easier to be happy when you ain't got to worry about paying bills.
Right.
So all those external stress factors, they play a part.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know whether it's the time, but I've even seen a couple of, I don't know if you've been browsing social media where they have the women proposing now.
Okay.
And I'm not totally against that.
Neither am I.
I'm not really totally against that.
Neither am I. Because, I mean, no two situations are the same. It doesn't mean I'm going to go out and scout a ring and plan a place to drop to a knee personally.
Yeah.
But, I mean, sometimes the narrative can be confusing when you have men saying, when there's a narrative presented of, I wish women would shoot their shot more so I would know what was going on. I wish women didn't leave all of the pursuing or the expression of interest to the man. You know what I'm saying? Like they advocate for it's okay to express interest or to speak first or to initiate.
I'm one of them.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right?
I'm one of them.
So by that narrative, it also shouldn't be a bad thing if a woman decides she's ready to move on to the next step of the relationship.
Facts. And the only reason I'm one of them because I have this thought as well. Once again, just going back to my generation, where when we was coming up, we used to go to the mall.
Correct.
And I wasn't finna buy shit.
No.
I didn't have no money.
Not $1. Maybe $5 in your pocket.
I went maybe to get an American cookie and
or some pretzels.
Some pretzels. and see how many phone numbers I can get.
Absolutely.
And during that time, I'm glad I came up in that era because it taught me rejection.
Yes.
Yeah. So by the time a man get older, if he came up really trying to engage and holler at a woman in a personal realm, I feel like, bro, by the time we get older, we done been shot down and know all our life because we've been out here scouting, getting numbers, and everybody that ain't saying yeah. So I'd be like, well, for once, I wouldn't mind a woman saying, hey, how you doing? Like, you ain't necessarily got to be like on the chase like a man, but
I understand.
At least initiation,
expression of interest.
I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's why I have that thought when it comes to that, and a woman proposing or whatever. I'm not really against it and her expressing her interest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I still want to initiate though. Yeah.
I mean, that's valid. That's valid.
I think like you can let me know, like you can give me, if a woman gave me I like, hey, if you come over here and ask me for my number, I'm gonna give it to you. I'll be like, okay.
I'll be over there shortly.
Yeah, you can give me one of them. Yeah. You can give me one of them wings like, hey, I'm looking at you.
I got you. Yeah. I understand. Sometimes it's that sometimes it's like if I look over there, maybe he'll know.
Yeah.
And the look should be enough.
And I take that. The
look should be enough.
Yeah, then even when we tell the story, if it work out, I'll be like, yeah, she shot her shot first. With the wink.
Good job. Good job. All it takes is a wink.
I give it to her. She just winked and I was like, hey, here I go.
We got action.
Yeah. All right. Even in that aspect, I'm still not necessarily a person of the chase though. When it comes to meeting somebody and getting into dating. I think I done grown impatient with that. Like as far as a woman to be like, why men? I don't necessarily think chivalry is dead.
Absolutely not.
Because it's a lot of eligible bachelors out here that still will date you. I actually met somebody that said she ain't never been on no date before. I think that was my last interview with Michelle.
I don't get a lot of dates.
Yeah, Michelle was like, I've never been on a date before.
That was my narrative for a very long time.
For real?
Very long time. Yeah. I've never. So for 21 years of having interest of wanting to date, I've never dated a lot. Never got a lot of dates.
But that go back to what you said though.
Never got a lot of dates.
What if in this day and age, it has evolved and dating ain't what you think it is no more?
Oh, dating is different. No, dating is definitely different. I mean, I don't knock that. But I mean, again, I'm talking about 21 years, a 21-year tenure of actively wanting to date. I just never got a lot of dates.
No.
That's not everybody's experience to constantly be asked on dates and Tuesday dinner with this one and Wednesday concert with, and I'm not delving off into dating multiple people because I do advocate for dating multiple people.
I do.
But I'm okay with that. But yeah, I've just never had a huge courting dating type experience.
Oh yeah.
It happens. Everybody's experiences are going to be different.
That's fact.
I think the expectation of those type of dates comes from a lot of what we see in media.
Mm-hmm.
Like they sell us romance.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this romanticized notion of how it's all going to play out. And that's not always the way it works.
Yeah, that's true. Because I think most people who date women, I think a lot of women outlook on, hey, what's a good date? And it's always monetary.
I've noticed that there is
these days
there is an expectation.
Yeah,
I've noticed that
of monetary. I for one, I never start off monetary. I would meet you at a park and we can walk the track and just talk and chill outside on a good day. Just to meet up.
My thing is, even if I'm not a park person, like, first of all, know your audience.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge outdoorsman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily trying to go sit in the park or do anything of that nature. But, so for starters, sometimes it's hard for me to put this into perspective because I don't put a dollar amount on a good time.
Right, exactly.
But even if you do have a financial ideation as to what you want to spend for this day, which there's nothing wrong with, know your budget, act your wage. If you have a budget, even if even if it is a free budget, there's still more that you can do.
Exactly.
There's still more that you can do. If you don't want to spend $1, you could tell me, knowing me, having conversed with me and listened to me, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to 3 of the best resale sneaker boutiques in Atlanta. We're going to look at the stock. We're going to look at the inventory. We're going to compare them. We're going to see who's got... Something like that would cost you $0, and I would think that was a ball. You know what I'm saying? I would have a great time doing that.
Oh, for real.
And then you listen to me. So now you know my interests. Your play, it didn't cost you $1 out of pocket, maybe just the gas of driving to 3 different places.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing day.
Hey, yeah, I hear that.
But it's relative.
Yeah.
That's me. There are people that feel as if you're not spending $300-400 on a date. It wasn't a date. I'm not that person.
Yeah.
See, find people that think like you do and go forward from there.
I believe it. Cause see, I go out and we'll go to the sneaker shop and then she'll call her friend and be like, yeah, we went to all these sneakers. That nigga didn't buy me 9 pair of shoes.
I get that. But I don't have that expectation.
Yeah.
I never have that expectation. Again, different experiences. I don't know the life of being gifted things and surprise this and you're supposed to buy. I don't know that. That's not my life experience.
Yeah.
I enjoy the culture of it. It would be no different than if you told me, let's go to Wednesday wine down jazz in the park or something like that. That doesn't cost anything. We just have to show up. I would enjoy that because I like live music. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, know who you're dealing with. Don't take somebody who wants to shop at Phipps to free jazz in the park. Not saying people don't like both. But odds are these are 2 different people who are going to enjoy 2 different caliber of date.
I think so too. And like I said, as a person who date, I kind of do that. I kind of listen in the conversation and having that back and forth dialogue. And one thing I do is, I guess I get caught in the trap of when I do plan a date, I guess I never think monetary. I do go to buy like, hey, she said she like this and she like that. I'm not saying I'm not gonna spend no money, but I didn't necessarily have a budget. My thought process was, I'm gonna go here because she said she has an interest in this, and this might just be a good time. I might spend $5. I might spend $100. I don't know, but the budget and the money is not necessarily ever
the concern.
Yeah, it don't never cross my mind when I'm making a plan to take a mile. And then when you find out, like, hey, Shawty really cared about how much money I spent at the end of the day, when she don't even know it was levels of this, that, and the third that I was putting this date together. And
I'm invested in the date. It's just not financially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I don't get about today's dating. And so now we go into the subject matter of the title and waiting on the title.
Okay.
I think a lot of people, once they get to a certain, time invested, they go back to that word we just use, time invested in a relationship.
Yeah.
They either ready for the title of, what are we exclusive? Are we this, that, and the third? Marriage. And have you ever been married?
I've not been married.
You've never been married. Mm-mm. But a serious relationship though.
My longest relationship was 2 years.
2 years. That's a long time.
It felt like it.
I mean, just to be in a relationship and be like, yeah, I spent 2 years with bruh.
But to stay on topic, that's titled relationship.
That was a titled relationship.
It was a titled relationship.
So it's like
it doesn't necessarily mean I haven't had other relationships.
Yeah.
But it was a duck that we called a horse.
Go deeper.
So it was, I got you.
Yeah.
So it was a relationship.
Yeah.
We just never sat down and called it one.
Ah, there you have it.
It was a duck.
Yeah.
But we called it a horse.
Yeah.
But it was a duck. I've expressed that to people from my past if I've talked to them and they're like, well, we were never together. And I'm like, not by title.
Yeah.
We traveled, we spent waking moments together. You moved, I came to visit. We went on a couple of family vacations together. I would travel and leave. We had a relationship. Whatever kind you want to call it is a different story. But because we never sat down and said we're boyfriend and girlfriend, it doesn't it doesn't take the significance away from the fact that we had a thing.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. Typically when we say relationships, we automatically go to assumed, titled boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, girlfriend type deals. Something that's very linear, and they're not always linear. Like, you spend 5 years going through the motions with somebody, but you never call it a girlfriend, boyfriend situation.
Yeah.
Does that mean that 5 years doesn't count?
I think it do.
I think it does also.
I'm real big on time.
I mean, it's a thing. However you want to call it, I don't think it's fair to make it less important just because you didn't call it the same thing they called it.
Yeah. I'm in 100% agreeing with you. And I think that's one reason, as I've gotten older, I'm not even big on titles because calling it something like you said, it don't necessarily do nothing to the relationship or the aspect of what we got going on. I could date somebody, and as you said, we can spend every waking moment together, travel, go out. And even when we go out amongst our peers, they can see us and assume
they receive us in that way.
They be like, y'all together. And
it's like,
yeah, nah, we ain't together. They be like,
yes, but no, but
right.
Yes, but no.
Yeah, right, bro. Every time we see her, we see you.
Correct.
So they already put it in their mind and gave it a title. And I'm like, we ain't even got to give it a title.
It's not necessarily. I used to joke and say, I want to know we're together when you introduce me as your girl.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily, you know what I mean? Like, introduce me in a way that is respectful to what we got going, but call it what you want to call it. I've called people an ex in the past just because it's the easiest way to describe it.
To describe them.
It's just the easiest way to put it.
And I feel that.
Like, you're my ex. We're friendly because not all relationships have to end in a bad way.
Nah.
But at the time, did we call it a thing? No. But 10 years later, you're an ex. Like, it is what it is. It happens that way.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, I'm just not real fond of giving things titles and things of that. And that's only because now I've been married.
Okay.
And in my search for dating and things right now, I'm looking for more action.
Understood.
And the number one question everybody always asks me, what you looking for?
I hate that.
And
question.
I know. And I always hit them with reciprocation. Like, that's my number one.
My answer is the best I can find.
Yeah. Mine is reciprocation.
It doesn't, like, when we're dating, we tend to have relationship blinders on. So we're only looking at people in the lens of being a romantic or sexual partner. I keep a broader lens because you might be a business partner. You might be the person that puts $10 million in my life. You might be the person that elevates my brand. You might be the person that holds my hand when my mother dies. You might end up being the best friend. You might end up marrying my sister. But I couldn't see you for being an asset to my life because I didn't see you as a romantic partner. I don't necessarily like to keep the scope so narrow. Yeah. Because you don't know what somebody can offer you if you're just looking for a boyfriend or just looking for a girlfriend.
Right.
You might miss out on something amazing in the interim.
That's true.
Just my thought.
I'm with that. I like that. So.
Yes.
So you were comfortable not having a title though. It was not
always.
Not always.
Not always. Some of that's external pressure, though.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes you have to stop and ask yourself, is it something that I need or is it something that I think I should need?
Yeah.
Because of all the outside pressure of being coupled off. Society puts a lot of pressure on people to be coupled, to be paired off, to be in relationships. Your friends may feel a different way than you do. You might be the black sheep or the outside thinker. So you're over here comfortable.
Right.
But you feel as if you should have something else going on just because of the expectation of everybody else. And sometimes that's hard to step away from. Also, sometimes your needs change. So for now, I might be okay with just letting it be what it is. But in a year, I might need to know mentally something more definitive. Just because of where I'm at, I might need to know, is it a thing?
A little affirmation.
Are we on the same page?
Yeah.
Are we looking at the same thing? If we call it a horse because it's a duck, can we acknowledge the fact that it's a duck? Can we acknowledge what we're doing at least, even if we don't want to call it a thing? Let's be transparent about what we. Yeah, let's keep it going.
I agree with that. Yeah, that's cool. Like I said, I just haven't been real big on them titles lately. But I do tell everybody, like, I love being in love and I know what I want. And once I have something, like you said, it is what it is. You see what you get. And if we together, we most likely together. If I feel like if I go to a party and we walk in a party and everybody be like, hey y'all, and they acknowledge us as a couple, I be like, this is because this is the era we giving off. And this is most likely probably what we want or whatever. And I don't have to sit and have no conversation on what we're doing. We know what this is.
But is it okay if the other person does?
But now I've been in a situation where the other person, like you said, she does. She be like, no, I want to know what we're doing. I want to hear from the horse's mouth. You tell me, but I'm like, well, but you go back. I go back to square one, like you said. I give that answer like, call it what you want to call it. I give you free range.
The only thing I would say is when you're in that space sometimes, and again, we're not bashing. I'm just going to go off a personal experience.
Yeah.
From my personal experience, I've noticed sometimes that conversation can spark an argument when it doesn't have to.
That's true.
I think a lot of us stand in a place of keeping an open line of communication until it's time to communicate. So if somebody is expressing the need for clarity or for understanding, or as you said, the affirmation, the confirmation, knowing that just, regardless of what we tell anybody else, we need to be in sync with us, then have the conversation. Don't get upset. Don't say, you know how I feel, and kind of be careful how you choose those words.
True.
Like, don't say, call it what you want to call it, because now I feel like, well, but I'm coming to you because I want to know your opinion. I know how I feel. I want to make sure we're on the same footing.
Right. Do you think as a woman,
yes,
more women need affirmation? Because we're prone to think women are as a man, I'm a protector.
Okay.
I'm supposed to have stability and provide you with that protection.
Okay.
So coming in anywhere, even in a physical place, like, hey, a woman look at you or my daughter look at me like, Daddy, where we going?
Okay.
Wherever we're going, I know you, Daddy, you got my back and you're my protector. And in a relationship, I still feel as a woman should look as a man as her protector.
Okay.
So with that being said, do you think more women want affirmation because they feel like, well, I want to know what I'm getting into. I want to know, you protected me in this situation. And if you protected me in this situation, what is this situation? Is it?
Okay. So, there's some layers to that one. So for starters, knowing something and being told something are two completely different stories.
That's true.
Feeling safe in somebody and having that verbal expression or confirmation or reaffirmation aren't necessarily the same thing. I can know for a fact you'll jump in front of a train for me. But it doesn't mean that your actions take away from the need of my needing to hear things sometimes.
Right.
So, I mean, and I think that goes for a lot of us. And sometimes I don't necessarily think that's as gendered. I think that knowing a woman is going to show up for you and be there and take care and do X, Y, and Z doesn't negate the fact that you don't want to hear certain things sometimes. You can know someone's appreciative, but a thank you doesn't hurt. You know what I mean?
That's true.
But to take it one step further, and you'd have to look up, I'm sure there are studies in the psychology behind it and all that jazz. So one, if you're dealing with a woman who's dealt with, I'll raise my hand, a lot of issues of feeling valid or good enough, they may need those words more often. I tell people all the time, I've said it before, I'm sorry, I need constant reaffirmation. I'll say something like, I just want you to rub my booty and tell me I'm pretty. And I say it as a joke, but I need a little something at that point. If it's you sitting on the couch and me putting my foot on your leg, or I need something at that point. And you don't always want to have to ask for it. Yeah. It's nice if somebody understands that you might need to hear the things a little more often, then they can just offer you the things a little more often. On the other side of that, for the same reason that I would worry about what other people think, we can all say what we're doing is nobody else's business, and that's all fine and good. But we can't negate the fact that society looks at unmarried women of a certain age or demographic to be less desirable. And we're all fighting to push through that because we don't have an expiration date. But sometimes I need to hear more of the things because I feel as if I've been made to feel as if I'm not enough or I'm deteriorating in value. So I need to know, because if I leave the situation and we weren't a thing, I look stupid going back into the world.
Man, I never knew that society looked at women when they got older like, your value is going. Well,
this is why a lot of women start to get into that place of, I'm 36 years old. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, I'm 40 years old. I'm getting to this age. I need to know. And some like to say it's biological clock, but look at a lot of the media or content that you consume about women in relationships. Look at some of and I'm not going into the bashing, but just the known red pill type of men or conversations, or those conversations that are trying to quote unquote level the playing field. They always determine a woman's value based on her relationship status, her physical appearance. It's never so much about her academic or financial accomplishments or what she's contributed. It's always in relation to a man. So if I'm in a place where the outside world is placing my value based on what we got going on, I'm going to be a little bit more pressed to know where we're at, just so I can be comfortable moving around in the world.
Man, you make me feel bad because I thought men was in that situation. Because I was like,
well,
I'm 37 and I'm thinking.
But then men will turn around and make that retarded analogy about the key in the lock. And now you don't want to be the shitty lock because men have told you you're a shitty lock because they've got the master key. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't agree with that, but there's a lot of stuff that gets perpetuated. And then when people absorb it and have a reaction to it, they tell you you're not tough enough. Yeah. No, you just told me that I ain't this because I haven't that. So now I'm pressed about not becoming that. And I'm talking to him and he's like, chill out. We were good 2 days ago. What's happening? Exactly. Like, what's the issue? Like, I thought we were on pace and understanding. And it's like, it's not you. Love you. But the pressure and everything else that I encounter is different. And it's not always easy to go against all of that outside pressure.
Absolutely.
Especially not if you're not getting the validation on the inside that you need to face the outside.
That's facts. That's right. Because I'm just telling you, auntie, I thought like as a man get older, I was like, bro, if I'm hurting to find somebody and I'm living by myself, I ain't gonna be good for nothing but old sugar daddy.
Stop.
I'm like, yeah, like when men get older, I'm telling you, we be sitting around, we be talking, we're like, hey, bro, we just gonna be some sugar daddies.
But look at the terms. A man gets older and he's an old bachelor.
Old sugar daddy?
Like the terminology, you hear an old bachelor. You hear a woman. typically a woman who's older and single is an old maid.
Old maid with the cats and shit.
Like
Don't sound too
they
appeasing.
portray it in such a different light. Like a woman who's older who hasn't done the things. Like, well, what can she offer you then? She's not having kids. She's not doing. But men, it's like, ooh, they get better as they get older. They get a little salt and pepper. They start to look a little grown.
Okay.
And I'm not saying there aren't wonderful looking older women, but traditionally,
I know
the views in aging has always been different. So it's like if I'm a man and I'm going to be 50 and I can still date 25-year-olds, but if I'm a woman and I'm going to be 50 and I can only date 65-year-olds.
Right.
Where's the equity?
It's a little different. It's a little sexist. I see where the sexism come in on now.
It happens.
Man, it's been a real. I really appreciate you for coming through, auntie.
I'm glad you had me.
Hey, man, I told you responded, and I got you to do that. Hey, we was messenger tagging for a minute,
for a while,
where we finally made it happen. So, what you got going on though, as far as your social media, auntie?
I am available currently at Instagram, Ask Auntie Roni, RONI. TikTok, Ask Auntie Roni, hashtag Ask Auntie Roni. Conversations coming soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you just gonna be on
I started everything, with a series of lives. Going live, having conversation, objective conversations. And I'm just trying to figure out how to translate that best for distribution.
I want to try to go live. So I don't know what it is. When I see live videos and I be seeing like all the sporadic comments going, I'm like, man, how they be seeing the questions and stuff? Like,
well, it's one thing when you're sitting having a conversation with an audience and you're watching your phone. It's another thing, and that's where I'm getting stuck, when you want something that's a good like production value, but you're also reading the interaction. Because part of my thing is I want you to ask questions.
Yeah,
I want you to weigh in, because I just want to have a conversation. I don't want to change your mind.
Right.
I just want to talk about it.
Which we just said, like, I think we just need a lot more of that.
Yeah, like let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
It's okay to think of something from another viewpoint. Doesn't have to change your opinion.
Oh, yeah. So is it mostly always live, or do you ever just post where we can respond?
So I will occasionally do some, what I have done in the past, I've done some postings asking for topic suggestions, asking general feeler questions, to get some interaction going, but mostly I've been doing lives.
Oh yeah, okay.
So we're gonna have some different source material soon outside of just the lives.
Man, I'm gonna be in the bed when you be on.
I go on in the middle of the day.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want you to listen while you're at work.
Yeah, I'm about to say I'll be at work.
Put your AirPod in.
Yeah.
Listen in. We gonna
is it TikTok or Instagram you be on in the middle of the day?
Middle of day lives will be going to Instagram.
You go on Instagram?
Yes.
Yeah, see, I don't know why I done got stuck on TikTok. I'm gonna have to get on Instagram.
Because TikTok is TikTok.
They so quick though. Well, I catch some lives on that. I do not see a lot of interesting lives on TikTok though. It baffles me.
It's because everybody wants to be right, so then things get combative, and that's not fun to listen to anymore.
Yeah. I don't see a lot of fun.
It's just the dialogue. All we need is the dialogue. Let me make up my own mind.
Yeah, so, but I'm gonna check it out. Now I gotta scroll over to Instagram to catch it. That's why I ain't been catching you.
Don't worry. We're gonna do an actual page on Facebook, an actual on Ask Auntie Roni page.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to the point where it's all going live at the same time everywhere.
Oh yeah.
It'll go everywhere.
Man, you gonna teach me?
I'll learn you a little bit.
Yeah, learn me a little bit.
I want
to learn how to go live.
We got you.
Yeah, what you think gonna be coming soon live? We're gonna play with Ask Auntie Roni first though. Yeah, I'm gonna learn from you.
Okay, and I'm gonna learn from you.
Yeah, when y'all see me go live, y'all know why and where I got it from. Hey, so we up out of here.
Indeed.
Hey, so we just did a segment with Auntie Roni here. Y'all make sure y'all check out Instagram going live, mostly at midday, you say? Midday. And make sure y'all come in and let me know what you think as far as titles and relationship and the subject matter we had to offer here today. In other words, I'm up out of here and let me know what you think. All right. Hey, that was good, Auntie.
All you gotta